In the mid-1950s, residents of the small Japanese fishing town of Minamata started noticing their cats acting insane, jumping around uncontrollably, even leaping into the sea to commit suicide. The phenomenon became known as the dancing cats. Alarms were raised when the human residents of the town started exhibiting the same neurological symptoms, including numbness, loss of sight and hearing, shaking, involuntary screaming with an increasing inability to control the body, and eventually death. After years of searching for the cause, researchers finally identified the source. The Chisa Chemical Corporation was dumping massive amounts of mercury into the bay, where it was absorbed by the fish and then consumed by the townspeople and their cats. Mercury poisoning is now known as Minamata Disease, a condition that permanently damages the nervous system. The company made victims sign legal documents promising not to mention the cause, and went on dumping mercury into the water for another decade. Eventually, the government forced the Chisa Corporation to pay the victims, who would suffer from severe neurological symptoms for the rest of their lives. In December of 1984, what's known as the worst industrial disaster in world history took place at the Union Carbide Pesticide Plant in Bhopal, India, when over 30 tons of the highly toxic gas methyl isocyanate leaked into the surrounding towns and villages, exposing over 500,000 people to poison gas as they slept. Many awoke to feeling extremely nauseous, with their eyes and throats burning uncontrollably, unable to breathe. Since this gas is twice as heavy as air, the poison cloud remained close to the ground, most severely affecting children. As many as 16,000 people died, with survivors still suffering from the chemical damage to their lungs, liver, and kidneys. Legal proceedings following the disaster stretched out for decades, with very little in the end being paid out to victims. The largest ocean spill in history occurred on April 20th, 2010 at the Deepwater Horizon drilling rig, about 41 miles off the coast of Louisiana. Highly pressurized and extremely flammable methane gas escaped the well and exploded, engulfing the rig in a fireball. Of the 126 crew members, 11 were missing and never found, presumed dead, burned alive, or drowned. The damaged rig began to sink, and the well was dumping over 2.5 million gallons of oil per day into the ocean. That's enough oil, when converted to gas, to fill roughly 9,600 cars' gas tanks per day. Several attempts by remote-controlled submersibles to cap the leak failed, and it wasn't until a depressing 3 months later that the well was finally stopped, with a total of 210 million gallons of crude oil polluting the Gulf of Mexico. The spill covered 70,000 square miles of ocean and washed up on 125 miles of coastline in Louisiana, Mississippi, Florida, and Alabama. The environmental impact included massive amounts of dead fish, turtles, dolphins, and other marine life washing up on the shore for years after, as well as health effects for coastal residents, including cancers, liver and kidney disease, mental health disorders, birth defects, breathing issues, and bleeding from the nose and ears. BP was forced to pay a settlement of $20.8 billion, making it the largest in U.S. history.